sure God's first. Love God, serve God, and walk with God. Be in His light and love Him. Okay. God is my father. Yes, He's the king. I am the princess, so I'm royalty. P-R to the I-N-C, E to the double S. God is my father. Yes, He's the king. I'm the princess, so I'm royalty. P-R to the I-N-C, E to the double S. Okay. P-R to the I-N-C, E to the double S. Alright. God is my father, I'm royalty. It's life with the princess. Okay, alright. Hey everyone, it's me, Miracle, hashtag the princess, and welcome to my radio show called Life with the Princess Radio, the voice of my generation. My show is about kids, and it's also for kids, and it's about giving God the glory. You can check me out on YouTube on Life with the Princess channel, on Instagram, and on Musical.ly at Life with the Princess. I want to start off with something I call Miracles Moment. If you are funny, then stay funny. If you are nice, then stay nice. Don't let a boy change you. Be yourself, and people will like you just the way you are. Miracle's word of today is resilient. Resilient, which means able to withstand or recover from difficult situations. When I broke my wrist years ago, I had to have surgery on and get a cast on my arm. I was scared, but God healed me. God makes us resilient. He heals us and gets us through tough times. My guest today knows what it means to be resilient. He's a psychologist who works with parents of Black kids who receive special education or are labeled as disruptive. His name is Dr. Umar Johnson. Welcome to the show, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Princess. Glad to be with you.
Okay, so if you have a question, if you have a question if you have a question about education for Dr. Johnson, call Life with the Princess Show at 410-481-1010. It's 410-481-1010. So, Dr. Johnson, please explain what you do.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a school psychologist primarily, which means I evaluate children in school towards determining if they have learning disabilities and if they need special education in order to learn. So I am a tester. I give out IQ tests, reading tests, math tests, writing tests, emotional tests, adaptive tests, behavioral tests. I am a tester, and I use the information from those tests to determine whether or not children need special help.
So what's wrong with the education system?
The problem with the education system, Princess, is that it has been intentionally designed to produce failure for Black children. The purpose of the public school system today is to prepare Black boys for prison and Black girls for poverty.
As an upcoming fourth grader in the voice of my generation, what can I do to make sure we get the best education?
I could answer that question in 3 words. Read, read, and read. And the reason I say that is because when you read, 4 things automatically happen without you trying. Number 1, you improve your knowledge of general facts and information. That's very important because as you go through life, you're going to be forced to take a lot of different tests. And a lot of those tests are going to have questions on them that are simply about the way things are in the world. And the only way you can improve your knowledge about the way things are in the world is to read. The second reason why you want to read is that it improves your working vocabulary knowledge. So working vocabulary relates to how well you can understand what you read in text. So if you have a strong working vocabulary, you're less likely to come across words that you don't understand. Number 3, by reading more, it improves your ability to communicate verbally when you're talking to people. And number 4, reading improves your ability to communicate with the written word. And those are 4 things that you're going to need to be able to do well to understand your world, to be able to use effective language and interpret effective language, as well as speak and write well.
I heard you want to open a school. What will be different about your school than the public school system?
Yes, ma'am. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy is going to be based on the principles of Pan-Africanism and international economics. So what's going to make FDMG different is that all of the children will be given an education that emphasizes financial empowerment. So they will know how to do their own taxes before they graduate. They will understand the real estate market before they graduate. They will be publicly trading stock before they graduate. And they will also have a written business plan before they graduate. FDMG is designed to prepare our young men and later our young women in the art of being successful without a college education. We're not against college, but at the same time, we recognize that higher education has put millions of African Americans into long-term debt without even promising them a job upon completion.
What will your school do instead of suspensions for bad behavior?
We're not going to have any out-of-school suspension program, and the reason why I don't want an out-of-school suspension program is that 2/3 of African-American children are being raised by single-parent black mothers. So what good does it serve to send a child home to a mother who's already struggling enough to raise 2, 3, 4, 5 children alone, working 2 and 3 jobs? That mother needs as much time alone so that she can cope and relax and prepare for her children when they come home after school. The last thing a school should be doing is burdening African-American mothers by sending the children home when she really doesn't have the resources to deal with them. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an in-school suspension program where we teach the young men discipline and the ability to control their behavior so that they're less likely to have to be suspended at all.
How do you think your school will help the communities where the students live?
I believe that if you want to build a strong community, you got to have a strong school. And on the flip side, I believe that if you want to build a weak community, all you have to do is inject weak schools. I would argue one of the reasons why we have black ghettos in America to begin with is because so many weak schools have been created on purpose by the United States government for our young people. So by building strong schools, you will have strong men, strong women, strong institutions, strong community, and most of all, a strong organizational culture.
Do you think girls and boys should go to school together?
Yes, I don't have a problem with girls and boys going to school together. There's really no evidence that suggests that you have to separate the genders in order for the children to learn. However, because we do live in a hyper-sexualized culture where sex and intimacy is used to sell almost everything, and so many of our children are caught up in this hypersexual culture, it does become necessary to separate the boys and the girls from each other sometimes just so they can maintain their focus and maintain their concentration. So it doesn't directly improve learning, but it can indirectly support learning by making sure the boys and the girls are focused. But there are certain subjects that I think have to be just for the boys and other subjects that are just for the girls. For example, if you're going to be taught about being a lady, being a woman, taking care of your body as you become a woman, no boys need to be around for that, just like no young ladies need to be around when we're talking to the men about being husbands and being fathers and being role models. The girls don't need to be there for that. One of the things we know about African culture, our culture, is that there's a time just for the men, there's a time just for the women, and then there's a time for the entire community together.
So you mentioned discipline. How will you teach them discipline?
Well, number one, you don't have to worry as much about discipline when the children are motivated and interested in the instruction. The reason why we have so many discipline problems in the public, charter, parochial, independent, and private schools of America is because the instruction is boring, the teachers are not charismatic, the lesson plans are poorly written, the instructional aids are almost useless. So when a child comes to school and they're bored, they're uninterested, nobody can keep their attention, and then on top of that, you have instruction and curriculum and pedagogy pedagogy that is not effective, that's when the children lose focus. And when they lose focus, they start doing what? Engaging in distractible alternative behavior designed to do what? Keep their behavior. 95% of the time when children are misbehaving in school, it's because they're coming up with alternative activities to keep their attention because the teacher cannot. If we make sure the instruction is powerful, the instruction is relevant, I don't think we're going to have a lot of discipline problems.
So who inspires you?
Who inspired me? I would say that my sources of inspiration have been four things. Number one, in elementary school, I had a 4th and 5th grade Black History class that was taught by Mrs. Green. I think that Black History class early on in life really lit a spark within me. Number two, my father took me to my first family reunion in Baltimore, Maryland. When I was in somewhere between the 6th and 8th grade, that's when I learned I was related to Frederick Douglass. That gave me an additional desire to want to uphold the legacy of a Frederick Douglass. That gave me some purpose. Number three, I would say that I kind of always felt that I was born to do the work that I was doing. And then number four, I would say I've just been motivated by the way Black people have been mistreated in this American social order, and also motivated by the great contributions that our ancestors have made in the past. So simply stated, I would probably argue that I do what I do because I feel obligated to carry on the great legacy of our people.
What advice would you give me in the future, for the future?
I would say three things. Number one, discipline. Your whole future is dependent upon how much discipline you have. Everything you become and don't become is a result of discipline. I always say the greatest basketball player was not Michael Jordan. We will never know who the greatest basketball player was. Michael Jordan gets the title because Michael Jordan had the discipline to work his plan. The Honorable Marcus Garvey may not have been the greatest Black organizer of all time. He gets the credit because he had the discipline to perfect his craft. Talent and intelligence are useless without discipline. Develop your self-control, develop your meditation, develop your concentration. We're only put on this planet for a century. You get 100 years on this earth, give or take a few decades. And in that 100 years, you have to make your mark. And the amount of discipline you have determines to what extent you're able to harness those years of your life to leave a lasting legacy and impression for your community.
Dr. Johnson, where can people learn more about your plans for a school and about the education system?
Yes, ma'am. They can visit me through my website, drumarjohnson.com. They can also call me at 844-4-DRUMAR. Again, that's 844-4-DRUMAR. Alternative number is 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. They can email me at drumarjohnson@yahoo.com, and they can follow me on social network, Twitter and Instagram, at Dr. Umar Johnson, and on Facebook, Dr. Umar Ifatunde.
Thanks for being a guest on the show, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Princess. Great job.
So, we have to take a break, but when we'll get back, we'll have Miracle's message. I need to tell you this right now. Make sure God's first. Love God, serve God, and walk with God. Be in His light and love Him. Okay. God is my Father. Yes, He's the King. I am the princess, so I'm royalty. P-R to the I-N-C, E to the double S. God is my Father. Yes, He's the King. I am the princess, so I'm royalty. P-R to the I-N-C, E to the double S. Okay. P-R to the I-N-C, E to the double S. Alright. God is my Father, I'm royalty. It's life with the princess. Okay, alright. Welcome back to Life with the Princess radio show, the voice of my generation. I'm your host, Miracle #the Princess. I started practicing for the Miss Greenbelt pageant, which takes place in Labor Day weekend. But they need more contestants, especially for Little Miss category ages 7 to 10, which I am in. You don't have to be a resident of Greenbelt, Maryland. You just have to be a Maryland resident. If you or someone you know is interested in entering the pageant, email Devin Fenley at devinfenley@hotmail.com. That's DEVINFENDALY at hotmail.com. The pageant has the evening gown questions and answers and interview competitions. And today, I start practicing for the back-to-school fashion show at Beltway Plaza Mall in Greenbelt, Maryland. The fashion show takes place on August 12th at 2 p.m. in the mall, so come out and watch me walk the catwalk. This week at summer camp in the Creative Kids program, we're practicing right now for our play. It's called The Cookie Caper. The Cookie Caper is a musical mystery that is set at Creative Kids Camp. When a batch of cookies disappear, the campers decide to look for clues that lead them on a journey of discovery through the historic Greenbelt Community Center. They find a diary hidden by a girl in 1937 on the day Eleanor Roosevelt came to visit her school. The diary teaches the campers what life was like during Greenbelt's first year and about the progress the town has made towards quality since then. The show is next Friday, July 28th, at the Greenbelt Arts Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. Show times are 10 a.m. and 2:15 p.m., and tickets are free. Now it's time for Miracles Review. Today's review is the movie Descendants 2. Descendants 2 was about kind of like Descendants 1, but pretty much they were kind of having like a type of problem about because they were going back to the Isle of the Lost, even though they were already in Oregon, going back to the Isle of the Lost, and they felt a little bit different. They weren't really used to it, but Mal went back to the Isle of the Lost, and then all her friends, especially her boyfriend Ben, had to go back. So Ben had to be taught how to be bad and break the rules and different type of songs. I love Descendants pretty much because they have like different type of songs. It pretty much shows it shows you what it's different in two different worlds that are far away from each other, because bad mixed together with good is not really okay. But the new characters in Descendants 2 are Uma, which her real name is China. She's also an ant farm. Plus, I really love her. And so what if she was a villain in the movie? I kind of still wanted her to stay in Oregon. But I bet you there's a Descendants 3 because she said, "Do you think that's the end of Descendants 2? And I was like, oh, there's a Descendants 3? Oh my gosh. And I was like, I have to see it. So if there's a Descendants 4, I'm going to smack myself. Not in real life, but I'm just going to pretty much pass out in fake life. So the movie compared to Descendants 1 and Descendants 2, it's compared, it's like equal, both of them are the same by pretty much exact same characters, except, there's also another character, a little girl who actually is 13, I'm guessing 13, who's actually a real fan of Descendants, who got to have a really huge role for her. And she works at a shop, pretty much trying to help Evie and Mal. And so she, at the end, she was gonna be sent back to Oregon. So she was super happy because she got a little letter. And I'm still wondering about Uma. She turned into a really large squid. And her mother was, I think it was Ursula. Her mother was Ursula too. So, also the movie's same because pretty much it's also the same because Ben's still in it. And it's also the same because, everything looks the same a little bit, but it's also the same because it has songs still. But it's also different because it has different songs. Plus, it's different because Mal changed her hair. And also, it's kind of different because the Eye of the Lost look a little bit more
different than before. Plus, it's also different because Umba's in it now, the little girl's in it now, plus her group Umba has, and it's also pretty different because Mal wanted to go back to the Isle of the Lost because she thinks she belongs there, but she stayed in Noradon. And also, I need to give you a little plot twist, little bit of something that was in the movie. If you see it, you'll know why it happened. So first, while they were having a party to celebrate, because Mal was still there, and pretty much they're having like a party that they think they're gonna be married. Like before, they think they're probably gonna get engaged, but they're not engaged yet. Well, they are kind of, but pretty much at the party, Mal was supposed to be with Ben, but Ben came down and brought Umba instead, all the way from the Isle of the Lost, and brought her into Noradon. And I was like, what happened? Why did? And then they fell in love, but actually, that's not really the true reason. I'm just going to give you a tiny little hint. It involves spells. Different type of spells. So you have to see Descendants too. It's like a lot of plot twist, a plot twist on top of another plot twist, on top of another plot twist, and there's another plot twist, and you have to untwist them and untwist them and untwist them to get it. But then I'm like, there's a Descendants 3. I'm guessing there's still another plot twist. What is Umba gonna do? Pretty much Mal also turned into a dragon. She never knew she can do that. But when she turned back, she had a very beautiful dress that looks exactly like the picture they brung down. It's supposed to be Mal, but then it turned into it didn't turn to Umba. Umba got mad when she didn't see her on there, and then they're like, just open the barrier so then all the Eye of the Lost can come to Noradon. And I was like, gosh, what's gonna happen next on Descendants 3? And they also have the after show, and I'm like, I have to see that, but I had to go to bed, so yeah. And so I pretty much would recommend this to my friends, like 1,000 times yes. Recommend, a million times yes, I would recommend it to my friends. Number one, I'm not going to go all the way to a million, but I'm going to give you 3 reasons. Number one, has a plot twist on top of a plot twist on top of a plot twist. Number 2, I'm guessing my friends like Descendants a whole lot. And number 3, I like their songs, so I'm guessing they might like their songs. And plus, actually, there's a number 4. Everything's so cool. And I also think that Descendants 2 is a little bit more better than Descendants 1. If you don't believe me, or you have your own opinion, so you can go ahead and check out Descendants 1 and Descendants 2. Descendants 1 might still be free, but it was made in I think 2015. So 2 years, pretty much. Yeah, both of the movies are totally awesome. So, also, now it's time for Miracle's message. Today's message comes from Mark 11:24-25. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand to pray, if you hold anything against another, forgive it, so that your Father in heaven will forgive your sins as well. That means when we ask God for what we want, we should believe that God has already given it to us, and He will bless us. It also means that we need to forgive people for what they do to us, because God forgave us for the things we have done wrong. That's all the time we have for today. I want to thank my guest, Dr. Umar Johnson, who's not really here anymore. And don't forget, now through August 17th, I'm collecting household items for homeless people who are placed in housing with my latest project called Make Yourself at Home. They need things like toilet paper, sheets, towels, washcloths, curtains, paper towels, dishes, laundry detergent, blankets, and cleaning products, to name a few. Anything they'll need to start their new life in their new home. Businesses can adopt Miracle Mondays and donate part of what they earn on Mondays, and they can let people drop off their items at their businesses. Any money collected will go to those at risk of becoming homeless in D.C. and Maryland. For more information on how to donate, go to and also donate to Make Yourself at Home project. Also, for booking information or to be a guest on the WOOB, also my show, email me at lifewiththeprincess@gmail.com. I want to share with you this program I am part in, which is really good. It's called Smart Box by Smart Influencer, where I was able to test several products to offer my own opinion. And for more information, go to smartinfluencer.us. That's smartinfluencer.us. Plus, I'm going to let you know some of those products are really good. Please check out the commercial. You can see it on my YouTube channel. And I'm also with my friends. Some of them I'm with my friends. And I call them my sisters because pretty much Madison begs me to say they're my sisters. So they're truly, Madison and Mackenzie are truly sisters. They're totally twins. We sometimes argue, but I'm going to give you a little something. Whenever someone's mean to you, dab. Just dab. And don't say anything. Just dab. And then pretty much they're going to be like, and they're just going to laugh. And they're going to be like, okay. If they don't laugh, it's okay. If you just stand there and wait for something to happen. If nothing happens and it's awkward silence, just dab again and then walk away. And then pretty much you'll be fine. So, thank you for listening to my show called Life with the Princess Radio, the voice of my generation. You can check me out on YouTube on Life with the Princess channel. My radio show is on every second and fourth Saturday of the month from 10:30 to 11 here on WLLB 1010 AM.
I needed to tell you this right now. Make sure God's first. Love God, serve God, and walk with God. Be in His light and love Him. Okay.